y'all, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. Really quick, just wanted to talk about the 800 Pavement Network. As you can see, we have some lettering there, lettering on our other truck over there, lettering on this truck here. They all say 1-800-Blacktop. We've been using the 1-800-Blacktop number here for the last couple years. It's really been exceptional for us as far as making things click with our branding, and now that we're in another state, those area codes are together. It's worked out fantastically for us. The other thing is that 800 Pavement Network has other advantages. There's group discounts on a lot of the products and materials that we use within our industry. We're part of over 300 different, see that one? Over 300 different contractors that are now using these numbers all over the country. That's combined over $2 billion in gross profits. So if you've been thinking about it or you're curious about it and you're like, well, oh, should I or shouldn't I? DM me, message me, or reach out to 800 Pavement Network. You can find them online through their website. You can call 1-800-Pavement and you'll get them as well. They'd be happy to run you through kind of the advantages and everything else that we've been taking advantage of here at Wiscote and Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance, and how it can benefit you as well. Once again, if you're curious about it at all, you can always DM me. So yeah, 1-800-Blacktop. You can DM me or message me or email me through the podcast or Wiscote or wherever as well. I would love to talk to you about how it has helped us. To keep with the 1985 theme, that's also when I was started, was 1985. So there's a lot of similarities yet there between Mike and I. If I fast forward to the year 2000 or so, that was when I first set my hands on a LeeBoy 1000 for the very first time. When I think about that, can someone educate me when LeeBoy started, what the year was?
1964.
So when we think about that, right, 1964, when you think about the color branding within our industry, since 1964 and beyond, it's been these colors right here. It's the same colors that Blacktop Banter has. A lot of colors like you see right here. These are iconic colors. So the marketing inadvertently that LeeBoy started, I believe, with the gold and yellow, the black and the white, has parlayed into our industry where that's just an iconic thing. Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers, yeah. And I mean, even when Pittsburgh Steelers are, stringing out Ben Roethlisberger for the last however long, people are still diehards, right? They still want to do it, they still cheer, they still move it on. When I first set my hands on LeeBoy, I was 15 years old. The person that was running it had left the job site and had left there for a while. Truck comes in with a load on, says 15, 20 minutes. I was handling the screw on the one side, had a legend screed, and I thought, this is my responsibility to run this one turn down screw on this side. And then pretty soon said, somebody run the bleeping paver. I was the one person standing on the other side, right? I could handle laying the mat and keeping it right there on that side. But I'd watched, and immediately when I put my hands on it, it was like I had already done it before. We ran that driveway out. The next job, I ran the next one. And it was very easy for me to take that on, right? So for me, the ease of being able to use that paver at that young of an age by just looking at it and understanding it, I still enjoy the thought that might have been what made me geek out about the asphalt industry to begin with. Something that seemed so complicated and super important became very interesting to me because with ease of the machine, I was able to do something that when I turned around and took a look at that mat, I felt extremely proud of. And that's why when I look at the 800 Pavement Network, it's really hard to build a marketing company inside of an industry that's really niche and really specific. You have to really be able to offer something incredibly special and important. And the numbers are those things, but as we alluded to in some of the videos and as Mike alluded to, it's not just a magical number, right? And we have a video that we posted, that I posted kind of tongue-in-cheek, that says the magic number, right? And it's about how we use 800 Pavement Network and our number. So before I get too far into that, let's talk about the podcast, Blacktop Banter, how it started and all those things. I'm new school, right? And we talk about new school and old school quite a bit. And Mike's right, you have to be able to market your number. They see it on the, and you know, Mike always points to, hey, it's on the side of your trucks, it's on your yard signs, it's on your business cards or whatever. Still, people aren't really looking at that stuff nowadays as much as they used to. They look at their phone, right, quite a bit now. And you can use that number the way we have online, whether it's me just saying it, or you see it on our equipment there, or you see it in the captions below. We're able to market that in a new age way that's really become advantageous to us in both of our businesses. So the podcast itself, just to give you some quick numbers, when it first, and how it started. Let me get it with how it started first. I had a marketing tactic in mind for Wiscoat, which is our seal coating company there in Wisconsin, where I would be able to make a video that was called Wiscoat Wednesday. Seems like I always have nice rings to how the marketing videos and segments work, from Blacktop Banter to Wiscoat Wednesday. And what I was doing was I was grabbing somebody in my community. I live in a very rural area in Wisconsin. We're in the second highest population in my county, and it's 738 people. So it's very rural. And that's whole southwestern Wisconsin is like that. But I knew certain people that were predominant in our area, and I would ask them to come sit down for a video. And this is, you know, early 2010, 2012. So it was very awkward for people. Facebook had just kind of started. But I knew that I would be able to tag them in these posts. And when I tagged them, their friends would see me for the first time, their whole network of friends. And not only that, their network of friends would see me in our side of the industry for the very first time, which allowed me to almost double my reach with every different guest that I had. Well, after a while, being in such a rural area, you run out of people that are voluntarily willing to get on camera and create an awkward situation to start. But that's how it started. And then when I started going to National Pavement Expo, I went because I wanted to develop a community, an online community of people that could be a resource for me for knowledge as I look to expand and scale my business. And that's when I first met Mike, and I was doing something completely unorthodox with the YouTube videos and posting all this stuff where people were like, what is this guy doing? I was walking around with a camera, a selfie stick. Remember, people used to use those. They're gone by the wayside now. They're back scratchers now. But, you know, walking around with that in my backpack, which I still have on, and people are just like, I guess so. You know, whatever this kid's doing. Well, we fast forward another year, and one of the Facebook groups I started went from 400 people to 2,800 people, all of them contractors. And then to try to handle 28 contractors, you know, moaning, complaining, and saying who's doing this and who's doing that, I was very thankful to be able to pass that group on. But it left me wanting to do something in a way that documented our industry. You know, you guys have a great story here at LeeBoy. Mike has a great story. How do we get that out to everybody within our industry, but then also beyond, right? I mean, how do we get people interested outside of our industry? And that's where Blacktop Banter came into effect. What I did is I took the model of Wiscoat Wednesday and put it into effect with our industry, but I used contractors from within our industry, guys that I knew that were old school, that really knew what they were talking about, that could teach us young bucks how to lay a great foundation. I can market the best in the world, but if I'm marketing garbage, it's not gonna do any good. So we wanted to get information out of how to do this correctly, and it made an appeasement between the old school guys who had been running machines like your all machines and doing it correctly and having success over many years. They were able to feel like, all right, we're putting out the right information to the next generation coming up, and it gave us confidence. It gave them confidence to be able to keep doing that. But then it also gave us as confidence that, hey, we're not out here just flying in the blind. We're putting down a product and doing a process that's been proven over the last 30 years by some of the industry leaders, a lot of them network members with Mike. So that's kind of how Blacktop Banter started. Now, I didn't realize, I thought maybe it would be popular within our industry, right? Because it's in a space and it was something that never existed before. I didn't realize how popular it was going to get, how fast. So I check the numbers every morning. We're in almost 40 countries now, all around the world. So, you know, we're in Peru, Argentina. We have a wide listening in Argentina. I don't really understand why. I'm going to go maybe one day and find out why. But Australia, Canada, of course, overseas, Poland, Germany, France. So we have listeners that are listening about our industry and the products we use, and to some of these contractors. And those listenerships are over 40,000 now. So for me to think that there's over 40,000 people listening to, you know, our most recent podcast was with former NFL athlete Will James. Spent 10 years in NFL with the Giants as a cornerback, and then went to San Francisco and things like that. So it's went from contractors to NASCAR drivers to X game athletes, guys that are doing downhill racing and stuff on pavement. So it's connected us in more ways than just actually connecting us, right, through our roads and our interstates and all those other things. So that's kind of how we got there. When we allude to the video that I posted Sunday, which was, excuse me, nothing more than cold pour crack filler, getting crack filled out, it immediately made our outside industry, not people that directly knew what it was, wonder what the heck is going on here. Immediately the video gets shared. You know, well, what's going on here? What's going on here? Last night we were celebrating before we went to dinner that it hit 1 million views in less than 24 hours. This morning it was at 1.7. So in less than 12 hours, it's on a faster pace than it was before. There's a way to do that correctly, and it takes consistency and it takes branding over time. There's a lot of similarities that I see between the 800 Pavement Network and what we offer as now a marketing company through Blacktop Banter, that you have to understand just as soon as you put 800 Blacktop, which we have on our trucks, it wasn't like the phone was going to ring right now just because I stuck that on my truck. We had to consistently put in time and effort with our branding in order for those to become synonymous with Wiscoat, to where now that's happened with the podcast as well, to where we brand over time, slowly people see it more and more, and it just becomes synonymous with what we do and what our industry does. Marketing today is like that. You know, the real goal of branding, when I have meetings with companies, whether it's companies the size LeeBoy or smaller companies that are software companies that work with us quite a bit, is similar to the goal that we have at Wiscoat and my asphalt companies. It's when somebody wants to get a driveway done, I don't want them to go on Google and type in seal coating companies in my area. I want them to go on Google and type in Wiscoat Asphalt Maintenance or Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance. I want them to skip that step of looking for a company and getting a list, right? So we do that through our branding, our social media branding that we do quite successfully through both companies. That's the real goal of branding in general. So when you have something that you're able to brand that's memorable, to be honest with you, 1-800 Blacktop is a lot easier to brand than Wiscoat Asphalt Maintenance, right? That's harder in a sense. So when we were able to get our brand with Wiscoat up, which was a challenge in itself, you know, Mike and I had seen each other, known each other for a couple of years before I purchased my first number. Similar to the same way we save up and have a game plan to buy our first LeeBoy. We did the same thing with our 800 numbers. Once we were able to put those in and brand those with what we do, it allowed me to start another company in the very next area code because of the influx of work that we achieved. And immediately I purchased, thank God, I called and I was like, please tell me that 1-800 Blacktop's available in Iowa, because we're jumping over the state line here. And thankfully it was. So both numbers, 1-800 Blacktop, which we have 1-800 striping in the 608 too as well, but we don't use that one. See, I bought that one as a defense because we were a striping company there. I wanted it. We don't market that. Therefore, that number doesn't get called very often. But when we market what we do have with the 800 Blacktop numbers, you know, we'll get calls. I'll have a meeting with Brig, who has become pretty much my consigliere there at 800 Pavement Network, and she'll be like, Marvin, the numbers keep going up. You know, they're whatever you're doing down there is working. And I attribute a lot of that to the 800 Pavement Network. We were talking about overlap, right? I have two area codes right side by side. So if somebody's from Iowa and they're in Wisconsin and they see 1-800 Blacktop on our Wiscoat trucks, and they're just like, well, I'm just going to call it, that goes to Dubuque Asphalt Maintenance anyways, right? It goes to both. We had somebody actually, where we are locally, a funny story, they put 1-800 Blacktop on their truck, right? Because they were like, well, we're going to take advantage of this guy's reputation. All they did was market for us directly. Right? So, I mean, no matter what they were doing, they were marketing for us directly. So, you know, thanks. You know, okay, that works out great. So there's a lot of small advantages to having these numbers that, the list of advantages are fantastic, and we take advantage of those. But there's a lot of them that are subtle, like that one there, that are subtle too. And that's, to get the real goal of branding, I want people, when they think of Wiscoat, they're able to think of the number that goes with it. That's a lot easier than someone opening their phone and typing in Google to begin with. So that allows us to take what my goal is with marketing to the next step and skip Google altogether, which I think reverts back to the old school ways, right? Where somebody has a jingle where they say their number, whatever it is, 1-800 Blacktop, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the number. We can do that now without the jingle and have people call us directly. The new school and the old school way is something for me that's very special. You know, when I look at a picture like this, I asked to keep this picture up. For the life of the pavement industry, the guy with the loot has always been in existence. We still loot, same way that we looted then. The shovel guy, same way. So there's a lot of old school tactics there that are employed. And then we have somewhat of a mid-school tactic, I'll say, with Mike's numbers, right? Then we have what I would use this picture for, a social media post, which employs the new school tactics. And that allows something that's become somewhat of a phenomenon. I think you guys have kind of been able to witness that a little bit. We're a braggadocious industry, right, at heart, where people are like, we make the best machines. I would expect that people who work here and walk through the doors every day feel that we make the best machines and we believe it. And I believe it when we do our work, that we are the best where we are in our industry, and we bleed it with what we do. For me, people are wanting to show that. So they take this picture, put it on social media, and say, hey, this is what we use, this is what we do, this is why we're the best. And that's a new school tactic that it all is starting to encompass altogether. I want you to think about Mike's slideshow. The next slide in this presentation is similar to this one. Does anybody remember anything from that next slide? If you had to guess what one thing in that next slide would be, any kind of content from it, what do you think it would be? Bingo. Bingo. You don't even remember the slide, right? And we're here, right, at a presentation where you're like, well, it's got to be. We're in an atmosphere of 1-800-PAVEMENT. It's got to be a 1-800-PAVEMENT number, and it is. It is a 1-800-PAVEMENT number. There's something to be.
LeeBoy, Brian, I'm sorry.
And LeeBoy, right. That's true. So there's something to be said for that. It's advantageous, right? I can't ever imagine us getting rid of our 800 Pavement Network numbers unless for some reason we don't use cell phones anymore. And even then, I don't know if we would, right? So for me, somebody who markets it correctly, uses it correctly, I'm always going to be a network member. There's something to be said for that as well, because if we're always going to be a network member and you guys are, teaming up with 800 Pavement Network, you're always going to have me first. You're going to have that first shot, right? Oh yeah, we know he's here, he's in the network. That's going to be advantageous to us. When I talk about Mike about how many pavers they've used through the year, and they've all been LeeBoys, and we talk about service, right, and the service that he gets for that. We were talking last night, there's no shopping around, right? It makes it easy, it makes it efficient because you're getting such great service. And for me, that's how I feel about 800 Pavement Network. We take advantage of some of the programs and some of the advantages that Mike displayed. And I also take advantages of the ones like the guy that marketed my phone number in my area without him even knowing it. But what that is the key account program coming into fruition because we now have a community and an industry where we've realized that community partnerships like this are essential to everybody benefiting, right? It's not so much anymore, if you stand on your own and say, I do it myself, there's no fun in that. There's no post that I'm gonna make, like you'll probably get and see from here today, where I can tag LeeBoy in it, and I can tag 800 Pavement Network in it, and people be like, man, that's cool. Yeah. They're partnering with them, and that makes our industry feel neat, makes me feel like part of a community because I also run a LeeBoy. Maybe I should get a number like that. Or you have people on my end like, well, Marvin's got that number, and he's running a LeeBoy. Maybe there's a connection there. And if I'm able to make a post that says, we purchased our LeeBoy at whatever discount because of our affiliation with the 800 Pavement Network, they immediately see that, and there's that connection, right? Where we remember what's in that post. Oh yeah, it was LeeBoy, 800 Pavement Network. So it's very essential to kind of keep this community moving in that direction. I lease my numbers, I buy my numbers from Mike, right? It always is funny to me because we spend a little bit of money, we make a lot of money, Mike is happy, we're happy, right? If we buy a LeeBoy and we're putting down asphalt at the rate that I hope we do, our subcontractors use LeeBoy. We only use subcontractors that use LeeBoy. Our asphalt maintenance company love maintaining pavement that LeeBoy uses, or that LeeBoy puts down. So we specifically search for that. And as we parlay my asphalt maintenance companies into a paving industry, that's the only paving machine that we're looking at. There's something to be said for that as well. The high standard of quality there, make sure that LeeBoy delivers and has delivered for all these years. Same thing with the 800 Pavement Network. Never have I been like, I'm not getting my value from this. Sometimes I feel like, don't tell Brig this, but I feel like I'm undercharged sometimes, right, for the numbers and things that we get. So to bring that back into, a full circle, community partnerships like this one, like we have, and like I have with other people in our industry and other companies in our industry, are essential for not only the security of our industry going forward, but the scaling and advancement of our industry, and making sure that young people who find my videos very interesting do something with that interest. And sometimes that's whether we have a hopper popping up and we have the screed going out with the extension and that auger coming out, spitting asphalt out. Sometimes, as Mike's like, I love the smell of it. Sometimes when you see the steam coming off that pavement in those videos, you're like, oh, I can almost smell it, So it makes somebody interested and captures their attention, and they go to the next video. And then they go to the next post. And they go to this post, and pretty soon they start to see what we're doing, and that is our branding. One post may be LeeBoy, next post may just be us seal coating, maybe me giving a tip about what we're doing, and then it may be me a tip about how the 800 Pavement Network has helped us out. So it's very essential, I think, that if you're not going to try to do marketing in the sense that we've done it, which was very difficult in this day and age, which is why I give so much props to Mike for building a marketing company like they've built there too as well. If you're not going to do that, partnerships are essential to do that, because we're able to do that, right? I can't build my own paver, and if I did, I can't build anything. So that would tell you what it would be like. I need companies like this, and I need companies like Mike, and I need companies like Blacktop Banter. We need that in order to make sure that we're doing it efficiently. And I'm thankful to be in that community. I'm thankful to be in the community with LeeBoy. We have LeeBoy stuff at our shop that are setting out just because that's our industry. The same way you have pictures here, we have, one year I think we gave stress balls, right? And then we have, some of the guys have LeeBoy beanies at our house that we gave out, that you guys gave out one year at MPE. That's our industry. When you go and see our office, our numbers plastered on our old signs. We take our old corrugated signs each year when they change, and they say 800 Blacktop on them, and we hang those on the walls as well there, because that's our industry. And for me, to be able to be part of that and to see how we're starting to take care of each other with an industry that we've created makes me happy to be part of something like this, because it seems like this is an industry that started old school, with a lot of old school ways, with a lot of tough guys that were trying to earn their living for their family and for their guys and make their businesses successful and sustain. And there was a lot of, tight-lipped mentality for a while. And now, similar to that guy who, I believe that was Surface Masters, and he's like, oh, I called Mike, and Mike explained everything to me. Explained for me how to do this. He helped me with my company. That's what we do at Blacktop Banter as well, with our coaching of the young guys that are just getting into seal coating. We had a guy that is in my coaching program that seen a video of just us putting down a sealer, and was like, the finished picture, the before and after picture is why I started this. He said, I want to do something that makes me feel like I've accomplished something every day. And that's why I started doing this. That guy now, to look back and be like, to finish and look back at the job and be like, I took a canvas that looked like this and made it look like this. I'm able to post a picture with green grass and a blue sky. It makes somebody feel proud of their daily work. Now that guy is getting into paving and doing his own thing as well. He's scaling faster than what we do. He's in a more urban area, and we're able to give him information. And when I can't, right, if that's an area where I don't have the knowledge that he needs, I'm connected with a network that does, and I'm able to move them along so our industry progresses. And this guy that was interested, that we wanted to be interested in the industry, now is able to keep that interest going and keep turning into a business that hopefully buys LeeBoy pavers for 26 years over and over and over and over. So with that, you know, I'll close with the fact that the partnership in the key account program here that is going into effect, I believe, is the tip of the iceberg, or the tip of the spear of how things will be going forward. When I first started walking around the expo and had that camera out, people were like, this guy is weird, man. I don't know what he's doing. And now here we are 4 or 5 years later, we're like, oh, that's what we should be doing, right? This is what we should be doing. And if we can open our eyes early enough, we don't waste time for years saying, well, you know, we should just do our thing, we're fine. There's so many advantages to all of us working together, and I'm very thankful to see it. And I'm thankful you guys had me here today. I'm excited to see everything that goes on back here that I'm allowed to see. And I'm thankful to be here with Mike as well, and be working in the future, in the sense that what Blacktop Banter was founded on, we're going to be going with in the future as well. That'll be our foundation for what we do and what you guys have built here. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.